Good morning and happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recording. For anybody that might be new here, what I typically do is update myself on crypto news in the space, and I bring you guys along for the ride. Makes everybody's lives a lot easier. Let's see who's in the chat. Apologize for being slightly delayed this morning. Mr. Dumpster Fire, good to see you. Overboard Tech, good morning, man. We have Chris Hanley, Carl Coat in the chat. All sets. Tim I Am Crypto, Dakota Miner, Douglas, what's up, man? And Antonio, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. New name, haven't seen you before. Thanks for being here. We have Solar Miner, Carl Coat. I think I already said that. Geek of all trades.
It's a fucking good.
Good morning. I love that soundbite. I love it. Makes my morning every time I get to play it. Mr. Max Voltage in the house. Good to see you, buddy. We have Mr. Not James, Dan R, PC Space Race, my man. Little Stanky. All right, let's get into this, guys. See what the market's looking like today, and then we'll go from there. Bitcoin 52,315. How amazing is that? We have Ethereum just under $2,800. I know you guys don't care about Ethereum, but gains are there. We have Solana at 115, XRP 54 cents, BNB 346, ADA is at 59 cents. Let's see, we have VET in the deep green today. What is this VET? I'm not gonna click on it. We'll check out crypto bubbles in a second, but 32.4% today at 4 cents. Nice. HNT is up to $10. Look at that. Kaspa is still holding at 14 cents. That's crazy, actually. That's crazy. It's been holding like 14 cents for the past 3 or 4 days. ETC at 26 bucks. Everything looks fantastic. Dogecoin 8.5 cents. Man, this market is going great. All right, here's VET. Let's see. VeChain. Is anybody in on this? It jumped up 9 ranks, 32 now on top 100 coins. Again, 4 cents, almost 4.5 cents, 28.7%. Crazy. You know what? I heard CKB was pumping also this morning. I haven't checked yet. Let's see. Yeah, profits on HNT. That's crazy. It's crazy to see HNT actually like doing shit. I would have never thought it would do anything after, you know, the whole debacle of screwing us miners a couple years ago. Mr. Max Voltage. What? You made 4,000 honey last week? What? How much is that? Oh man, we're gonna get into that in a minute. All right, we'll look in a minute, Max. That's crazy. Good for you. All right, we have, look at this, Terra Classic. How is this still a thing? 13% up on the day. We have MNT up 12.4% on the day. We have 80 cents. BGB, which is BitGet token, ranked 66, 82 cents as well, up 16.2%. We have Say right here, 11.9%, up to 96 cents, almost $1. It's pushing $1. It's getting there. Aptos, $10.29, up 8.9% on the day. Nice. Everything's looking pretty good, guys. All right, Flashbang. Fear and Greed Index 72. You guys know I don't really care about it till it's over 75, but right now we're in a stage where who knows what's gonna happen. This is getting it's getting to the point where people are super confident, but I don't think we're stupid greedy yet. That's just my opinion. I think we still have a bit more to go, at least before the halving. But today is the end of the Chinese New Year, so just wondering if we're gonna see some sort of small pullback at some point. I don't know. Who knows? Let's see. Yeah, Max killed it with honey. That's crazy. We'll check it out in a second. We have top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, XRP, USDC, Lado Staked, Ether, Cardano, and Avalanche. Dogecoin is in 11th and Chainlink in 12th. They've been flipping each other the last couple of days, but Dogecoin took about 500 million more in inflows in the past day, which is pretty interesting. All right, real quick. I remember I was listening to Hawk and Mr. Mining King on the Terahash Tuesdays, and man, I love Hawk. I love him to death, but man, who's over here saying that Tether and USDC shouldn't be here? And I understand what he's saying, but it's about market cap. It's not about the coin itself and like its value. It's gonna stay relatively close to $1, but it's about how much money's in the market. Mr. Hawk Crypto Mining, we still love you. All right, so let's scroll down. Litecoin is in 22nd place. I think Litecoin is severely undervalued, but 70 bucks. It's kind of, I don't know if Litecoin didn't get the memo that things were pumping, but just kind of hanging out. Bitcoin Cash 21st place at $269. We have Ethereum Classic again, just under $27 in 27th place. Let's scroll down here a bit. Kaspa is in 35th place again, 14 cents, and VeChain is just above it in 34th place. Mr. Geek of all trades, my man, thanks for being a member for 18 months. Best crypto show in the game right here, ladies and gents. Say wicked pissa. I got to get back to work. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for being here. All right, let's check out Honey, because now Max said he made a killing. Max said he made a killing. 20 cents. How much did you make? How much did you make? What's going on here? Wait, so it's, you said you made did you say you made 5,000, Max? You made $1,000. You made $1,000. You're buying pizza. Send me lunch. I'll give you my address. All right. God damn. You made $1,000 last week from driving with the Hivemapper. That's freaking insane. That's awesome. Oh, we made 4,000. Okay, so $800. $800. That's crazy, bro. So max voltage. If you guys don't know what Hivemapper is, this is a lot of you guys know what it is, but oops, let's explore. What is that? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so this is the Hivemapper. It's like a little digital dash cam, $300. The only problem with this thing is right now is the inventory is out. And you know what's funny? I'm shocked they haven't raised the price on these, to be honest. If you go to view cart, what's happening? Why is it not bringing me to the page where it tells you? Oh, you got to click on it. I got it. All right, so this is the problem right here. August 2024. That's the issue here. So if you guys are interested in getting one of these, you're gonna be waiting a while, but man, have they been freaking lucrative lately. It's insane how much money you can make from these things. So Hivemapper is almost solely paying for my basement renovation, which is awesome. So that's crazy though. Good for you, Max. I'm happy for you, buddy. I'm happy for you. That's amazing. Amazing. It's nice to see people get money. All right, let's see. CKB. We're gonna start talking about the mining stuff. If you guys haven't noticed, we have the Nervos network right here. It's up 24% today, or 23.1 it says now, at 1 cent, but still it's pumping. It's kind of neat that or it's not neat, but interesting, I would say, that CKB tends to pump around the Chinese New Year. Doesn't that typically happen? I mean, this is significant, but I don't know. It doesn't really look too confident. The whole chart looks like it's just going down. I don't know. I'm not into CKB, but people were talking about it this morning in Discord. So shout out to all you guys over there. All right, let's check out the top miners of the day over here at Mine the ASIC. You guys know I just like to come here. It's a nice, clean website. Shows a bunch of different miners. Very easy to decipher. So top of the charts, we have the IB Link BMKS Max 11 terahash unit making $86.76 a day. Again, this is one of the top Kaspa miners that just came out. The Wind Miner K9 10.3 terahashes making $85.20 a day. I still haven't seen a video on either of these. Actually, you know what? Did Panda get one of these? I think no, maybe he didn't. I don't know. Did he get one of these? You guys know? Do you guys know? Please let me know. I know he had an IB Link in one of his videos yesterday, and he was talking about it. I think it was a different one though. Yeah, it was definitely a different one because it was dressed up in my shit on it. All right, anyways, we have the KS3 Ice River 8 terahash unit making $64.64 a day. We have the Ice River KS3M making $46.80 a day. Let's see, the X16P over here making $17.85 a day. Again, this is mining ETC and Zillow. If you guys are interested in one of these, go check out Mr. Max Voltage's channel. He's actually testing this out on like 14 different coins in the next week and the previous week, right? We have right here, looks like CKB's in the top of the charts for the Antminer K7 right there, $21 a day. K7's coming back. Look at that, it's making money now. We have the Superscaler K10, again FPGA. There is Aletheum and Carlson available on this, but Carlson's making most today at $11.05. Actually, how's Aletheum doing today? Didn't even look. Let's see, how's Lithium doing? Wow, it's up 8 point. All right, Brian Hollywood, you win this one. All right, I sold some of my bag at like 260 something, just because, man, this shit. Look at this. Ready? I made this point yesterday or the other day. This shit 8 months ago, it's up 48,057%. I was happy with the 46,000 that it was up the other day when I sold. So Yeah, that's enough gains for me. But hey, listen, you guys got to take profits. Each his own. Everybody do what makes sense for you. Well, yeah, what a loser. What a loser. All right, let's see. What else do we got here on this chart? We have the KS1 Ice River 1 terahash unit mining Kaspa 760 a day. Let's see what else is really piquing my interest today. Let's see the L7. I got this down to Terra Hosting. Shout out to them. Links in the description if you guys are interested. 10 cents per kilowatt hour over there. Then this right here, this whole listing is after 10 cents per kilowatt hour. This is $4.79. It's yielding me again 90.50 on the L7. That's the hash rate. Let's see. We have the X4Q. I got this thing running here, and I'm actually swapping this over. Mining ETC, swapping over to unMineable for Neoxa. To get my master node. So let's make it $2.42 a day. Definitely losing money on that one though. Here at my house I pay like almost 30 cents, so like 3 times more than the electric rate that's being subtracted here. We have the Ice River KS0 Pro 200 gigahash unit making $1.57 per day, which is awesome. Again, 10 cents kilowatt hour. And yeah, oh, you know what, shout out to Mining King. Actually, he fixed my S19K. Where is that? Where is it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to search it now. My S19K is fixed. The control board went like brand new unit. It went like a couple weeks in. Looks like it is profitable on Digibyte as of right now. $4.32 per day. This is the S19K Pro. This is what I got. 120 terahash unit. Love it. All right, let's check out GPUs before we get too far into things. Let's see. I wish I had a Jazz miner. I'd name it Hugh. Mr. Duke Nukem. Nice, buddy. All right, let's see. 4090, we have a lithium on the top of the charts. We have the 4080 Super, Nexilia, and Pyrin, or Pyrin. I don't know, how do you say that? I feel like Panda just says it wrong, kind of like solder. You can't say solder. He like pronounces the L. Is it Pyrin or Pyrin? Put a 1 in the chat if Panda's right, 2 in the chat if I'm right. All right, I don't know. I think it's Pyrin. I don't know. I could be totally wrong though. Anyways, we have Hyper and Lithium, Nexa on top of the charts here. We have Conflux of Radiant, Neoxa is on the top of the charts, the 7900 XT. All right, Panda's wrong. Thank you for confirming. Perfect. All right, anyways, that's pretty much it. All right, guys, we have 20 minutes of Gensler getting spanked over on CNBC television. I haven't had a chance to actually fully listen to this and watch this, but I heard a bit of it while I was working yesterday. I just kind of threw it in my earbuds. Guys, that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. I hate asking, but YouTube makes me. Let's get into it.
Joining us right now on the set for the first time to talk about Bitcoin and a lot more is SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So it's a month later, and I think we're all curious about how you think this is going, not just in terms of what's happened to the price, but in terms of what you think is happening inside this market and whether you think it's quote unquote working.
Well, look, we focus on investor protection and, of course, the issuers raising money. So this product, we've had similar products in gold and silver, ETFs, you call them. They're technically exchange-traded products. We approved a group of about 11 at one time. This was not the first way you could buy or express a risk in Bitcoin. But as we like to say, we're merit neutral. This was not in any way like an approval of Bitcoin. That existed. It's just how to trade it in these exchange-traded products.
We've had both a futures-based Ether and Bitcoin ETF, before, and I'm curious sort of how you think that this is going to impact the price of these things, given that, by the way, interestingly, who was it Pomp who was just on, Anthony Pompliano was just on earlier this weekend, was saying that so few Bitcoins are actually moving, and what we should think of that.
In merit neutral, I think it's a little less than neutral, Mr. Chairman. It almost was, we called it grudgingly. When you finally got it from the court case sort of forced in. Is it really just neutral, or wasn't there a little bit of a, we're not sure about this thing, and buyer beware?
Let me say it this way. Yeah. We're merit neutral.
This guy, the guy Joe, gives Gary hard shit real soon.
If somebody's complying with the laws.
Okay.
So if they're giving full, fair, and truthful disclosures to the American public, who gets to decide on their investments.
But you're so smart. You're at MIT, and people listen to your what you think about Bitcoin, and it is troublesome to me if I look at it and I see all the merits of it, and someone that taught about it and understands it seems to have an opinion that maybe it's, I don't know, pet rockish or something.
I get your words about pet rocks and so forth, but I think we also have an investor education.
He's so awkward.
Responsibility at the SEC, particularly about those investments that are non-compliant with either the securities laws
or
commodities laws and so forth. So here we have an asset class, all of these 15, 20,000 crypto tokens,
yep.
Many of which, without prejudging anyone, many of which are actually something called investment contracts or securities, and the platforms upon which you trade, the intermediaries. Right. They're not like in this building, NASDAQ, that has protections and against fraud, manipulation, and the like.
Just seen people lose their shirt on with NASDAQ stocks.
You can lose because there's risk.
Right.
There's risk in investments. But what we try to do as a society is take some of the fraud and manipulation risk out of the markets by regulation.
Is that the problem, though? It's not necessarily Bitcoin, the underlying asset, but more the froth and the potential for fraudsters to use it that has been
this is a
concern?
field, Becky, that's been rife with fraud and manipulation. And look at all the bankruptcies. And you've had on this set people talking about those various bankruptcies. And it's not just one entity. It's entity after entity after entity. And then investors are just lining up in the bankruptcy court.
What do you make of, this goes to the underlying piece of this. You've heard Jamie Dimon say that he would close it down, that basically Bitcoin you've seen the comments, right? It's not just that he closed it down, that he would say it's used by drug dealers and used by folks who are doing all sorts of illicit and terrible things. There's very few things that trade today that people talk about like that. Now, there are obviously frauds and things that happen.
That's because he's buying it in the background. Don't get things confused. 100% JP Morgan is buying in the background.
But maybe not like this.
Like the dollar is like 100 times more.
Well, I know that's your perspective, but I'm just I'm curious how you think about that.
That's true, though. This is how much has been money laundered with Bitcoin. This is how much. This is Bitcoin. This is dollar.
Yes, Joe. But look, here's the Jamie Dimon quote. The only true use case for it is for criminals, drug traffickers, money laundering, and tax avoidance. I know, but we have a guest.
That's his opinion.
We have a guest, Joe.
He's like, all right, Joe, shut up. I know, we have a guest.
What is your opinion?
I love Joe because he's like, it's weird because the other day we were watching something and he was like, kind of like, he was telling Anthony Pomp that 5% of the market getting eaten up by the ETFs like in 30 days isn't that much, but it really is, realistically. But and then today you got him like firing missiles at the SEC chair, which is hysterical.
What is your opinion that we have something trading on the exchange for the public that has this type of use case, at least as described by the president of one of the largest financial institutions in the country?
It's the leading market share in ransomware, and that's publicly known.
Right.
It's the token of choice for ransomware. Joe, if I can say, the U.S. dollar, the euro, the yen, you have the whole society using it as a medium of exchange. We buy our cups of coffee, as I see here. Right. We get paid in dollars or yen or euro. And you have a whole central bank and support for one currency generally per economic region. That we don't have here. So there is a very real economic difference.
Which is part of the attractions.
All right, so that kind of makes sense. All right, I don't want to be on his side at all. But at the same time, like, he made sense there, right? Everybody gets paid or people get paid in the dollar. And, so on and so forth. You used it every day for your everyday lives. So, yeah, clearly there's going to be more, I guess, money laundering with the dollar versus Bitcoin, as a whole, right? More people know about it. It's how it is. But I get his point there.
Since it's decentralized and you can't have a profligate central bank.
It's not that decentralized, Joe.
Well, I know you're saying because of the ETFs, but really it is.
No, it's not that decentralized because look how finance tends towards centralization since antiquity. Right. So what do we have? We have a handful of 3 to 6 core so-called crypto exchanges.
I understand, but the asset itself, the way that
that's how the
distributed
accounting ledger.
Right. That's how the ledger. And
now, how many times do you have people on this show that say, "I want to invest in something because how the books and records are kept"? I mean, Joe, really? It's just an accounting ledger, a clever.
It's a ledger that everyone has, and can't be double counted. It's almost immutable.
That's the whole thing. It can't be screwed up. Like, nobody can just accidentally change the numbers. Like, yeah, that makes total sense.
That's why people think it has.
You trust it more than an Oracle database.
100%.
I trust it more than a lot of the Bitcoin bulls say they trust it a lot more than the central bank that enables the fiscal authorities to spend money to the tune of $33 trillion.
Well, again, because no one person can change it. The ledger's the ledger, period. Like, there is no effing it up when it comes to accounting.
That's everybody's investment choice. But
and then I think about how many things can be used in a deleterious way. Of course, but that has nothing to do with the underlying thing that you're using itself. I mean, I can go run a car into a parade and run over 40 people. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have cars, does it?
No, you should have cars.
I wasn't going to use guns because, God, I don't want to trigger, so to speak, anyone on the set. But
oh my God. This guy, Joe, he's gonna. If we don't see him on CNBC anymore, we know why he got fired.
But when the use case of a particular thing that you're buying and selling
That's
as
crazy.
an
I
investment
can't believe you just said that.
is just speculative investment.
How many of the 90% of the people that own Bitcoin are using it for ransomware?
That's great.
There must be another use case that makes it so attractive to so many people.
Speculative investing.
Right. Speculative investing. That's what. Okay. Let me ask a separate question, which is just
the nuts on Joe right now. The giant.
Pivot this because I think the next sort of order event question is what happens to Ethereum. For those in the crypto world, they all want to know how you're thinking about that. And really, if Ethereum is a security, how does that analysis differ from how you would think about Bitcoin?
That's a good question.
What we did in January was cabin to one set of filings. We have other filings. You're absolutely right in front of us, but I'm not going to prejudge it for you or the audience. That's something that a 5-member commission discusses and reviews.
Let me ask you a different question, which has to do with indexing. Gary. So much of our market is focused on indexes. And you focus historically, or at least the SEC's historically focused on individual securities, right? Individual companies and the like. I'm curious whether you think that the system as it is today actually is working in the right way, meaning a lot of the valuations today you could ascribe to the fact that certain securities are in certain indexes. It relates to what's happening to Bitcoin, by the way.
So it's a great innovation going back decades ago. Jack Bogle, and as you know, you probably interviewed him when he was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, the one who was in the chat said they just mad because they can't manipulate it like the U.S. dollar and be able to do what they want with it and fill their pockets while others are suffering. 100%. I guarantee that's part of the problem.
Invented this idea that you could democratize finance, that rather than buying individual stocks, you can buy the basket. Why buy the needle when you can buy the haystack, he would say. And so it was very cost efficient, and it's a way the American public can really participate in the stock market at very low cost. It's also led to some concentration, some centralization in finance, because when you look at the large index providers, if you're in the index or not in the index, it can be very consequential.
And these days it's a handful, but the other piece of it is these days it's a handful of stocks, which often represent a majority of the entire index.
The reason you're looking
for individual valuation.
The reason you're looking for the needle in the haystack is to find the needle. To get rid of all the hay. I mean, who wants a haystack? That makes no sense.
Well, but actually, economists, Joe, I mean, you know this, have studied it.
Bro, he's lighting them up today.
No, but they've studied it that you get the benefit of diversity.
Joe drank a large cup of
eat shit, Gary,
this morning.
And Vanguard does not.
500 guesses.
Vanguard doesn't have a Bitcoin, right? They didn't.
Vanguard is not doing it yet.
They're not
the only ones really. The only of the biggies that didn't do it. Correct.
Yeah, I don't think Vanguard actually.
Well, they're not. They were not. They did not submit an application.
Right. Exactly.
Do you expect, if we're all sitting here at this table together a year from now, that this dozen or so approved ETFs, that there's only like 2 or 3, gets even more concentrated, or do you think that there's going to be, dozens of these things?
That's really up to the market to decide. But what you saw when this happened is fees came down dramatically. There was a bit of a investors benefited because there was a bit of a competition there. Investors also benefited from better disclosure because they have to do things called registering with the Securities and Exchange Commission on those products. And investors got the benefit of any surveillance by the various stock exchanges. But again, these are highly speculative, risky assets in which to invest.
Let me pivot again to a big headline that happened actually last night. We just talked to the CEO of the company. I don't know if you were watching, CEO of Lyft just moments ago. That stock popped in this remarkable way, in part because in the press release, they had an extra zero on their margin for the quarter. What does the SEC think about something like that? Is that something where you'd fine a company for that kind of mistake? Is that something where you say that's part of the business? Obviously, investors who bought on that, it might have been algorithmic trading. I want to actually talk to you about the impact of that as well.
Okay, I think it's a responsibility of companies to ensure that they put out information to the public that's accurate. And I can't speak to that one matter. I don't even, you're telling me something I learned about a half an hour ago. But in general, companies are supposed to put out accurate information to the public.
But when they don't,
If it's an accident.
let's say it's an accident. Let's say a correction happens immediately. We can take Lyft out of this. I'll say that the Sorkin, Quick, Kernan and Co. We accidentally put out a press release. Kernan especially. We put out a press release accidentally with some misinformation. We corrected it within 10 minutes. It was clearly not intentional on our behalf or on our part. Is somebody from the SEC calling us today and saying, "Hey guys, we got a problem. We're going to have to send you a fine"? Like, how does the SEC think about these things?
Let me see if I can just generalize and pivot to artificial intelligence. I gave a talk yesterday up at Yale about this. And so it's sort of like, what is the liability or responsibility of somebody using an AI model? And the AI model might hallucinate.
Right.
And look, we really don't want our advisors hallucinating on mushrooms, and you don't really want your advisors to hallucinate with AI. There's still a responsibility to ensure that you have
Let me pivot and start talking about LSD.
accurate information that you're putting out. And with the use of AI, that you have certain guardrails in place, especially if you knowingly know that it might hallucinate or know that it might front run in a market.
I mean, that's an interesting idea. This morning I was looking at it, and it was algorithmic trading that bought into this. Most humans didn't react fastly enough, or wouldn't have reacted quickly enough. If you had a human eye checking it over, you might not have thought it was rational to have a 500 basis point increase in your projections for your margins.
And Becky, I think, and again, stepping aside from that one event last night, I really just learned about it. But whether it's a mistake or whether it's intentional, because also you could have people trying to defraud the market by putting out fake news releases.
Right.
Sure.
And you know, so bad actors have a new tool to try to defraud the market, and that it's to protect the public from that.
How much empathy do you have or sympathy do you have for algorithmic trading, though? I mean, if it's...
Well, it's a tool. It's existed. Algorithmic trading has existed for decades. It's getting faster, less latency, and it's also getting more sophisticated. The math is getting more sophisticated. And so if you're deploying a model, you want to make sure that the model has certain guardrails, really to protect your bottom line and to protect the market.
Let me ask you about another big topic that we've been talking about for the past week and a half now, which is the ruling in the Tesla case around governance and the compensation that Elon Musk was paid. And I'm curious about it because part of the ruling goes at the idea that the board of Tesla was, quote unquote, not independent, even though that these quote unquote independent directors were supposedly independent, that they weren't, and that they therefore did not negotiate in good faith, and that when they then endorsed this compensation agreement, the shareholders effectively, I think the judge would say, I don't know if she would use this word, were effectively defrauded and therefore voted with misinformation. What say you? Because I think part of it is, all of these companies are trying to comply with the rules around independent directors, et cetera. And where's the SEC play in this?
So it's the matters you talked about, I'm not going to speak about, but generally, those matters are a matter of state law and state corporate governance. The SEC has some role with regard to corporate governance about the disclosures around executive compensation, the disclosures about the controls of the company and the like. But those matters that you're speaking about really are generally a matter of state law.
But to a large degree, that case was about defrauding investors, shareholders, that I would assume come under the purview of the SEC, and whether they're being provided with the right information, because underneath this entire case is this idea that these directors are telling the public that they're independent, but in fact that they're not. And is the SEC supposed to step in those roles and say, you know, here's a problem here?
Again, I hope the viewing public understands that as the chair of a law enforcement agency, I'm not going to speak about any one circumstance, one company. And
you know what's fucked up? They're like, I don't know, man. CNBC, clearly, they're getting like, you know, let's bash on people that are like, people that the government doesn't agree with, right? Like Elon Musk, he says a lot of things that like are controversial, right? And he'll post whatever he wants on Twitter. And clearly the government doesn't like that, but they're like, I feel like he's like forced to ask these questions to Gary. Like, it's so fucking weird. Like, why are we talking about this?
And certainly other people's cases in state courts. But yes, you're right. The Securities and Exchange Commission is a disclosure-based regulatory agency, and it's about ensuring that the information is accurate, material information. There's not omissions, and that we protect the public against fraud, manipulation, whether it's in these securities or it's in, yes, Joe, crypto securities.
Okay,
I thought you'd like
I got
that,
a more
Joe.
complicated one for you, and I don't know the truth of the matter, but there have been lots of reports, mostly in the Wall Street Journal, suggesting that Elon Musk is taking illicit drugs. I don't know if this is right or wrong.
What the fuck? Like, really? Anyways, real quick, Crypto KJ in the chat said, I'm running cables, but listening. Do you think they've been told not to mention the tweet that crashed the BTC market the day before the approval? I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I wish they asked about that.
Or otherwise. The question I have, though, is the SEC supposed to look at this? Is somebody supposed to look at this? Is someone not supposed to look at this? Is the board supposed to look at this? What?
Listen, he's a goddamn billionaire. If he wants to smoke weed on his free time, who gives a shit? Who cares what he does? I don't understand. Why is that even brought up on news? Like, what is happening right now?
How would you think about it? No,
like, this is just to throw shade at shit, right? Like, I feel like that's what this is doing right now. Like, I feel like this guy's directed to throw shade at Bitcoin or, you know, Elon Musk in this case. Like, that's just,
I'm serious. You run this governing body over
fucked up.
investors, and I think there are some investors who are trying to understand what they're supposed to think of these articles.
Look, again, I understand you have a role to play as a very talented on-air financial journalist.
You know what? I kind of you know, Gary right here, like, not again, I don't want to be on his side at all, but you know, he's looking at him across the table being like, why are you asking me this stupid shit? Because this has nothing to do with anything.
A role to play. It's also chairing a law enforcement agency. With respect, I'm not going to be pulled into that, but we are disclosure-based. That companies discuss their material risks, that investors get to decide based on those material risks whether they want to invest in that company or sell the stock.
Should companies that have CEOs that use illicit drugs include this in some kind of warning? No, I'm just
anyways, real quick, fruit deal of passion in the chat said ID Greg SEC password Bitcoin.
The question.
That was good.
I don't know.
You know how many drunk CEOs there are that get up first thing in the morning?
I'm not here to. I'm not.
You know what? And this is why I love Joe, because he's like that old dog that can't learn new tricks, right? Like, he's gonna say what he wants to say, and that's it. Period. That's
The
funny.
stories are even
all of Silicon Valley
right
is
or wrong
experimenting with
It's true.
hallucinogens.
They may be.
You should have maybe at some point.
I probably should have.
Not kidding. You get to know yourself.
It
a
might
little bit.
help my ability to do the show.
Introspection. Yeah.
You mentioned hallucination. I'm going to come back.
He's like, Joe, did you just fucking say that to me on TV? What the hell's
Artificial
happening?
intelligence. It makes it
Oh, this is
easier.
great.
But like, if a company is using artificial intelligence in a material way, it's really about their bottom line, their prospects, and the like.
Right.
And that program has a tendency to hallucinate. They have to consider those risks and whether it's a material risk to invest.
Can I just say, the last time I heard you kind of come back to an issue that you were very centrally focused on was crypto. So this sounds to me like you are issuing a message. The reason you're here today to
Yeah, someone pointed out this dude in the background. It's funny. He's been here the whole time, just grilling Gary, and now he's got a posse with him.
talk about this is you want to issue a message to any company that is going to engage with artificial intelligence that they will be held responsible for any problems with that AI.
Well, in two ways, Becky. It's in, if you're an investment advisor giving advice to the public, or you're a broker dealer using it, to remember you still have a responsibility to put your investors ahead of the advisor or the broker dealer. So that's a conflict issue. But also, if you're using it, that you still have responsibilities not to defraud the public. And so that's about sort of having some guardrails. Let's make sure you don't front run, meaning take an investor's choice to buy or sell a stock and try to get ahead of them, put your interest ahead of them, and so forth. So yes, I do think that that's important, because regardless of the tool you use, whether you use a hammer, whether you use just a little bit of algebra, or you use artificial intelligence.
But it's not okay to blame a dumb AI program that did something we weren't anticipating.
That's right. You don't blame a dumb hammer if you're using that to defraud somebody. I'm just trying to say AI is a tool, but when you use that tool to do bad things.
Oh my God! Now the AI, it's okay for AI, but not Bitcoin.
Well,
Hello,
do you
Joe.
see them
No, I'm just saying.
Right.
You'd say it's a tool, but if you use it to do nefarious things, then then you're saying it's not AI's fault. Well, it's the same case.
Because
You just
it's
made the same
also
case for Bitcoin.
With Bitcoin's a non-security, but if
Now you're splitting hairs again.
no, I'm not, Joe.
And for every Jamie Dimon, I can raise you one Paul Tudor Jones, one Larry Fink, one Stan Druckenmiller, one. I mean, I'll raise you all. Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen.
They don't run the SEC.
I think we've established that Joe is not merit neutral.
That's right.
Chair Gensler, they're playing the music, but I do have to ask you one other question, which has to do with ESG. There's been a remarkable backlash on it. Even a backlash around disclosures around climate and some of these other metrics that you've been talking about. And I'm curious how you think about that, because you're seeing it from different states and investors, pension funds and the like, and it's become political.
Andrew, if you look at the top 1,000 companies, sort of the Russell 1000, about 90% of them are already talking about climate risk somewhere in their annual filings. A little over half are already disclosing something around their emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. I think therein lies a role for the SEC to help bring consistency, comparability in that decision usefulness. But we are not a climate regulator. We are not a climate risk regulator. We're a securities regulator.
Right, but there are some companies now that are scared to disclose some of their pledges or other things, because if they do, which you would say they should.
No, I do not. We just
then they're saying that certain states, Texas, Florida, and others are going to say, you can't do business in our state, or we're not going to invest in you, or what have you.
Andrew, there are many companies already making their disclosures, and if they're material, you have to make sure that they're accurate and they're not misleading. That's the same role as whether it's about the executives, and it's the same thing about these risks if they're material.
Okay. This has been fabulous. Come on back to the table again. It's great to see you in person.
Good to be with you.
He's like, no, I feel like I'm in front of Congress. You guys are just kicking my ass.
Eat shit, Gary.
That guy, Joe, lit him up, and that was fantastic. All right, let's move on. Crypto World, CNBC television. Bitcoin briefly crosses 52,000. As you guys know, it is still holding nicely above 52,000 as it recaptures $1 trillion market cap. Crypto World, CNBC. Let's do it, guys. That like button. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. I hate asking, but YouTube makes me. Let's do it.
Today, Bitcoin reaches a new intraday high, briefly hitting $52,000. And Andy Bear of CoinDesk Indices discusses whether the recent momentum for Bitcoin can hold up.
Yeah, Gary's gonna be walking funny after that one.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Cryptocurrencies were higher today, with Bitcoin trading at about $51,600 by noon Eastern. Earlier in the day, it briefly touched $52,000, a level not seen since December 2021.
And we're over it.
Ether also getting in on the gains and jumping to $27.40. Solana, meanwhile, climbing to $116. Over on Wall Street, Robinhood got a boost after reporting fourth quarter earnings. The company raked in $43 million in crypto revenue and saw monthly active users grow. The stock rose more than 10% by midday.
Do any of you guys use Robinhood? Put a 1 in the chat if you do. I'm just interested. I used to use it, but I haven't used it in a long time. When I did use it, you weren't allowed to withdraw your crypto, but I heard you can now. So I don't know. I'm just interested to know if you guys do.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Grayscale's head of ETFs caught up with CNBC's Bob Pisani at the Exchange ETF conference to discuss the performance of the firm's Bitcoin ETF.
So the tracking has been really remarkable. We've seen the Bitcoin ETFs really doing a great job of holding very tight bid-ask spreads, tracking the fund's net asset values very tightly, and we've seen a liquidity profile that has been indicative of what we anticipated. We've got a 10-year track record and over 1 million investors and over 20 billion in assets.
Grayscale, of course, is the largest of the Bitcoin ETFs and has faced selling pressure in the weeks after the launch, which are now diminishing. Oh, and if you missed it yesterday, Bob also caught up with Matt Hogan of Bitwise and Rick Edelman of the Digital Assets Council of Financial Professionals. You can watch that interview over at cnbc.com/cryptoworld.
We actually watched that yesterday during the live stream.
SEC Chair Gary Gensler stopped by CNBC's Squawk Box this morning to discuss spot Bitcoin ETFs a month after their launch. He stressed that the agency is still neutral on the investment products, but did speak about his concerns for Bitcoin's ability to be used for fraud and other illicit activity.
Well, this is a field, Becky, that's been rife with fraud and manipulation. And look at all the bankruptcies. And you've had on this set people talking about those various bankruptcies. And it's not just one entity. It's entity after entity after entity. And then investors are just lining up in the bankruptcy court.
Finally, a new report from the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network says Bitcoin is increasingly involved in cases of human trafficking and child exploitation. FinCEN looked at a period between January 2020 and December 2021 and found more than 2,000 cases of Bitcoin being specifically referenced in cases of human trafficking. And
again, this is just throwing shade. This is just throwing shade. That's so
online child sexual exploitation.
That's fucking
Overall,
dumb.
human trafficking-related Bank Secrecy Act reports grew from 336 in 2020 to nearly 2,000 in 2021. FinCEN.
Could you imagine how much US dollars were probably used for that shit? You know what I mean? I feel for everybody that's involved with that. It sucks, right? But it's just throwing shade.
Also pointed to CSAM, or child sexual abuse material, which made up most of the cases. Now, notably, this report explored data from the height of the last crypto bull cycle before the subsequent meltdown in 2022. Chainalysis released a report last month that said crypto's use in CSAM activity peaked in 2021. All right, turning back to markets for our main story. I caught up with Andy Baer, head of product at CoinDesk Indices, about Bitcoin's rise to another 2-year high and whether the momentum can continue. Bitcoin is at a more than 2-year high this morning, again, trading at nearly $52,000. Also, that pushed it back above the $1 trillion market cap. Talk about the driving force for this movement and how much of it do you attribute to, recent momentum in the newly trading ETFs?
Jason Hamilton made a good point. He said they have to push down BTC so the ETFs can get their volume for sales. Don't want to cut the margins. Dude, you know what? That's probably wicked true.
We're certainly excited to see Bitcoin scrape through $52,000 for the first time since December 2021.
And
which
it's holding.
In crypto years is quite a long time ago. To think that only 16, 17 months ago we were dealing with FTX kind of melting down and the market sort of in complete disarray.
You know what? That is kind of crazy to think about how soon, or a year ago, FTX happened, right? It really wasn't that long ago. It was a little over a year at this point. But that's nuts to think about. It was just then and where we are now. It's weird.
And now we have this great environment where Bitcoin is 52,000. As you said, the market capitalization of Bitcoin is over $1 trillion. The market capitalization of the entire cryptocurrency market is reaching about $2 trillion. And we have new ETFs, which in aggregate have raised about 11, probably more than that by now, $1 billion in a very short time. And the total amount of money in U.S. Bitcoin spot ETFs is almost $37 billion. So it certainly feels like a really, really strong day.
You and I both know that a lot of times we talk about the price action in Bitcoin and the crypto markets. It's a long-term good story, at least for Bitcoin. And then it's a little bit messier in the short term, or at least just more volatile. Do you think, to what extent do you think Bitcoin can keep up this momentum in the short term? We've all been watching the selling pressure from Grayscale and its ETF that was recently converted from the trust. So now that those outflows seem more out of the way, what headwinds are you watching when it comes to the Bitcoin price action over the next few weeks?
For sure. We want to look at Bitcoin and think about near term, medium term, and long term. In the near term, we're looking at things like yesterday's inflation print and the change in expectations that the market has for when the Fed might cut interest rates. Those got pushed back from kind of the March timeline to May or even past May. But every time that inflation expectations rise, people remember that Bitcoin is really expressed in dollars, and as dollars get weaker, Bitcoin gets stronger, right? So in that sense, Bitcoin kind of stumbled a little bit with equities and other kind of traditional assets at the moment that inflation number came out, but has rebounded quite strongly. In the medium term, we're looking at the halving, which is an event that happens every couple of years, when the reward that Bitcoin miners receive for providing security to the network gets cut in half. This is expected. The reward will go from 6.25 Bitcoin per block to 3 1/8. So traditionally, that's a time when people perceive that the supply of Bitcoin is going to be more constrained, and therefore, with demand the same, prices should go higher. We don't know if that's going to happen this time, but that's what's happened in the past. And then when you look out long term and you think about the properties that Bitcoin has in a portfolio, both its correlation with traditional assets, its kind of future of money and technology idea, more and more people, and now with this broader adoption through ETFs, it looks like it's going to be part of more and more model portfolios that advisors put together in the future.
I want to go slightly deeper on this, and apologies, I'm going to have you reiterate a couple of the things you just said. But, we've seen years where Bitcoin trades like a tech stock, and then we saw last year, that correlation with stocks start to fall and Bitcoin start to look a little bit more like gold. And then, after the approvals of the ETFs, I've seen a lot of people out there say, the macro has nothing to do with this right now, which may have been true while we were seeing those initial flows with the newly traded funds. So we know that Bitcoin can serve different purposes and be different things to different types of investors and different people. What if you could give kind of an overarching view on this? How should an investor be looking at Bitcoin right now?
There's two ways to look at it. I think that if you really have a long-term view and can stick with that for a long period, then, we don't make particular investment advice, but we hear a lot of advice that directs that model portfolios might include anywhere from 1% to 5% of Bitcoin as something which provides diversification effect, which also kind of makes a bet on the future of money. And also kind of protects against other kind of macro events that could happen in the future. Many people can't just sit and hold, especially if they're self-directed for years and years. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people got swept up in what happened towards the end of 2022 and sold out of their positions and then missed the rally. So for those people, we really recommend that they try to look at price momentum in Bitcoin, which is a very strong effect. We have a signal called the Bitcoin Trend Indicator, which has done a really good job of indicating when Bitcoin prices are trending higher and lower. And an investment process that uses that signal to allocate will take some of the emotion out of tactical trading and really help reduce the risk and let investors navigate the crypto seasons better. So the Bitcoin trend indicator right now is pointing at a significant uptrend. It has spent most of the time since mid-October in that position when Bitcoin was down to 27,000 and has therefore caught most of that rally.
Okay, that's all
Crazy.
for
Shout out to CNBC Crypto World. All right, let's get into some scams of the day. I don't know if you guys saw, CoffeeZilla dropped a new video yesterday, 12 hours ago. KSI accidentally exposes crypto scams. If you guys don't know, this is one of them cringeworthy YouTubers that are massively huge on just in the space rather. And yeah, I don't know. There's a few other people, you guys will probably be able to call it out, that actually do invest into this coin or are ambassadors of this coin that they're going to be talking about here. And it's just kind of interesting. So just for fun, we're going to watch this, guys. Please be careful and don't listen to everybody online, even like any YouTubers, me included, right? All right, let's get into it.
KSI is one of the world's most popular YouTubers, but yesterday he accidentally exposed the pump and dump crypto scams that he promoted. They've been hidden for 2 years, but only came out when KSI logged back into his old Twitter account, saying, "Does this still work?" Now, if you didn't know, this is KSI's crypto account where he used to talk about crypto coins he liked, but he messed up.
I think he's like Logan Paul's lapdog, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. DJ Mines in the house, appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Because one investigator has been waiting for him to return to the scene of the crime. And that person is not me. It's Zach XBT, a crypto investigator on Twitter who I'll link below because his work
is not the guy you want to get on the bad side of. Let's put it that way.
Incredible. He's a friend of the show. We've collaborated a lot. I just encourage you to go follow him. But I was shocked when he said this. In before he starts sharing garbage again, dumping your tokens on Logan Paul's lapdog is permitted and encouraged. Now, many people, including myself, hadn't seen anything from KSI to this point that seemed shady. But Zach had been waiting for this moment. He goes on, "Remember when KSI posted this? All of a sudden, my XCAD bag is looking juicy again."
You guys remember this, XCAD? I know there's another YouTuber that I watched that is an ambassador of XCAD, and they talk about it a lot. And it's, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this coin.
HODL Gang then proceeded to dump $850,000 worth of XCAD over the following days from his wallet address.
Shocking. Shocking.
Now, obviously, I was stunned by this, but looking at the date of when this all happened, I realized Zach has been holding onto this piece of evidence, waiting for KSI to come back to this account for years. He had this tweet in the drafts, and KSI logging back in activated the trap card. Zach also shared a picture as proof, series of transactions from KSI's wallet, where starting on March 27th, when he sent that tweet, KSI started selling XCAD. The same day he tweeted he was part of the HODL Gang, slang for someone who wouldn't sell this crypto coin, right? In fact, that wasn't the
I don't have that sweatshirt on today, but I do have that for sale in the crypto merch store in the description below.
Only time KSI has mentioned this holding stance publicly.
I'm holding my bags. I'm holding my Luna, my XCAD.
Videos like this are why people genuinely thought KSI was just buying and holding, but he wasn't. This time he sold. And he tweeted again on March 30th, 2022. "Me looking at ZIL and XCAD right now." And it might look like that means he's excited about this, but really he was looking at the sell button because he continued to sell XCAD to his fans who thought he was part of the HODL Gang once again. And this is what I mean by a pump
being like such a large influencer, that's like so shitty to do to people.
And dump scam. He got his followers excited while selling his own crypto bag at the same time. In total, over $800,000 was sold by KSI over a few days and these two tweets, according to Zach XBT. Now, as a quick aside, if you're wondering or skeptical of the fact that influencer tweets can have any kind of effect on a token price or volume, I whipped up a chart for you showing volume of XCAD during the days when KSI tweeted. You can see that trading volume spiked millions of dollars on those days, which in part were some of his followers putting money in as he sold. Today, the price of XCAD has plummeted from $3 to about $1. Now, as always, with such large allegations, I wanted to be sure to reach out to KSI to give him a chance to explain these large accusations. After all, I didn't find this, Zach did. So I reached out to KSI over Twitter.
You know what, Sasquatch crap in the chat said, how is that different from Jamie Dimon? And you know what? It's not. It's really not. They say to do one thing and then they do the complete opposite. right? Just because they know they're going to benefit from it. Like Jamie Dimon says, anybody trading Bitcoin in the company or, investing in Bitcoin, I'll fire you immediately. And then the next month, he's freaking buying it all, right? Largest purchaser of Bitcoin that month or whatever it was like 2 people, and he was the second one. It's just crazy.
And he gave me the following statement. Hey, bro, I'm still HODL gang, LMAO. Sold some profit, as well as my own money, to put into Luna, thinking I would profit more to buy back more XCAD, and took a major L. Still fully believe in XCAD, the ability to earn from watching content. Honestly, you should talk to Redacted. He's very excited about this project. I never left crypto. I've just been watching it from the shadows. It's kind of hard to leave when you've invested so many years into it. So that's his statement. He then shared a personal account screenshot showing that he does have some XCAD still held. But while that's an interesting fact and an interesting explanation, it doesn't really change the core accusation of whether he pumped and dumped his fans. And I thought it was interesting KSI didn't deny the crypto wallet was his, or that he made that amount of money. He's just telling us, well, I'm still hodling some of it, just 800,000 of it I sold. Now, to be honest, I don't buy this explanation for a second, but I kind of was feeling like I had to leave the story there. It felt like a one-off scam that I talk about on my new side channel, CoffeeZilla Extras, but the story would die there.
Oh yeah, Fully Electric said the major difference is he's pushing that junk XCAD coin. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
then I got another message.
Still doing the opposite of what you tell people to do, It's just it's shady. It sucks. It's unfortunate, but people like, even like, especially kids, right? They look up to like people like that guy for whatever reason, but it's unfortunate when they get, thrown under the bus, I guess.
Which changed everything from Zach. He said, I have one more KSI example with a different coin. Turns out on March 20th, 2021, KSI tweeted this. 2 NFT coins I'm very bullish on, Super and Earn. Any other NFTs I should look at? Now, normally when you're bullish on a coin, you buy that coin. But that's not what KSI did. See, right after he tweeted that, 6 hours later, he sold $174,000 worth of Earn token. And then 4 hours later, sells another $174,000.
That's so much, man.
That isn't a textbook pump and dump. I don't know what is. He tweeted, that's the pump. Within 24 hours, he sells $348,000. That's the dump. It couldn't be more clear. Or so I thought, because I asked KSI about this.
Oh, he's going to get raked over the coals at some point, for sure.
And that's where things got a bit muddy.
That's crazy.
Says, I don't really remember the details of every transaction I made. These were coins I put my own money in, thinking they would do well. I would listen to what people said on Twitter and just follow stuff. I invested in Doge, etc. I didn't have malicious intent in trying to scam. I was new to crypto, so I was excited, putting money in random things and trying to chase the pumps, and ultimately lost heavily. I hope people didn't take advice or tweets as gold, because looking back at my track record, I was effing dog shit. I wish I was an evil genius that would pump and dump at the right time, because then at least people would say that I had some wit about me. Reality is I was just shit at crypto. And that's basically KSI's defense. He was dumb, he was bad at crypto, but is that true?
Isn't that what SBF did? He didn't know he did anything wrong. He was just dumb.
Well, he says he put in $2 million of his own money and lost it all in the end. He says, quote, I made zero profit on crypto. In the end, I lost it all on Luna. Look, I haven't seen his accounts.
Actually, you know what? Maybe he did. Luna, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe that's true. Either way, even if he is bad or dumb with crypto, it doesn't explain the pump and dumps.
Right.
Like telling people.
No, that's the big thing here. Like you don't do that to your community, I guess, right?
You're bullish, and then selling is not explained by, I was new, I was dumb. And I said as much. I said, I'm just trying to understand why you traded the opposite way that you were saying on Twitter. And KSI replied this, because I thought I was getting trolled. Honestly, every time I tweeted something, the opposite would happen on the market. So I decided to tweet the opposite of what I was actually doing and still took an L. So
he admitted to it? What?
To be clear,
oh, fuck.
KSI's story that he's going with is that
up.
he thought the market was against him, so he publicly said one thing while privately, secretly doing the opposite, which is kind of the definition of a pump and dump when you promote that to a big audience. You say you're going to buy to your followers while secretly selling. Whether or not it's a successful pump and dump, whatever pump and dump, that's what it is. Now, look, I understand that people are going to have conflicting ideas of whether this was malicious or not. And I think it's going to entirely depend on whether you think KSI's story makes sense. I'm just trying to provide full context while also giving you my opinion on that, which is that I don't really buy that he had no clue that tweeting one thing would positively affect the price in his favor. Meanwhile, though, while I was confronting KSI, I heard a final response from Zach XBT, which I think moved the needle a bit. He said, I found another example. See, on May 11, 2021, KSI Crypto tweeted, "This is about to explode." Only moments later, though, he sold $25,000. Didn't buy it, which I get it. It's a relatively small amount, but it furthers that same pattern of behavior. It's just a matter of what you think that behavior was. If you ask me, I think KSI tried to use his influence to move the market for himself in crypto through a few pump and dumps. He may have lost all his money eventually in a Ponzi scheme, but that does not make what he did okay. In fact, I think it's fair to say that a lot of his followers, we saw that, he influenced millions of dollars in trading volume, went into some coins that are now doing very poorly. But ultimately, I think the true piece of cosmic irony for KSI here, though, is that he would have gotten away with all of this. No one would have known about any of it if he just hadn't logged back into Twitter for one last spin at the slot machine.
That's fucked up. That's really messed up. Well, shout out to CoffeeZilla for that. But yeah, guys, be careful, please. Don't listen to people when they sit there and talk about a certain coin that, could potentially pump. And yeah, it doesn't. All right. Anything you guys would like to talk about before we get out of here? That's messed up. That really is messed up. But hey, whatever. People are shady and it sucks and whatever. Can't fix it. All right, so let's see. $52,265 on Bitcoin. If anybody wasn't here at the beginning, again, the market looks fantastic. Everything's holding really good. Ethereum is back over $2,800. Let's see. Hucksters, fraudsters, and scam artists. Yes, Duke Nukem, 100%. Oh man, it's crazy. Let's see. What's the biggest earner on the week so far? Looks like Beam is still at the top of the charts here. Still at the top of the charts, 56. Looks like 3 cents. Is anybody into Beam, actually? Does anybody have that? Let me know in the chat. All right, let's check out some other coins. How is this ETC POW coin doing? It's up 23% today, and it's at 13 cents. Terrible. Man, this thing's taking such a shit. That is such a bad... Ugh, that's terrible. Anyways. Man, I almost wish I didn't make that video on this, to be honest, because I feel bad, because that's terrible. And I hope people didn't get in because of me on the setting up ETC POW nodes. Because I was not paid to do that. That was just like a thing I was doing, and then yeah, it got literally wrecked shortly after I made that video, which sucks. All right, let's see. Any other coins you guys want to look at real quick? Actually, how's Chlor doing? Let's look at Chlor. Oh god, I forgot it's a dot. Chlor down 2.96% today at 18 cents as of right now. Still doing pretty good, right? Yeah, that's a 3-month. It's actually still really good. Let's check out the year. In the year, it's up a lot. That's a decent amount. ETC POW is still more profitable on the GPU. Is it though? Is it? Maybe. I mean, yeah, I guess the wattage is low. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Financial failure. Dang, all good. It happens. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's one of those videos I'm like, shit. Probably. I feel bad I even made that now. It just sucks they make you pay for the license. If you didn't have to pay for the license and you could start the nodes up and secure the network, that would be one thing. But it's just, I don't know. You gotta pay $300 to get into it. It's ridiculous. Randy, good morning. And Miss Randy Hipper, I saw you in here. Good morning. We're gonna be raiding you in just a second. All right, let's see. Could you check on Zero? What is that? SERO? I've never even heard of this. What is this coin? 0.3 of a penny? What is this? 1 year. Look at the max chart. I'm gonna say just stay away from it. That would be my opinion on it. I don't even know anything about it, but just looking at this ass chart over here on CoinGecko, I would just not even go near it. That's just my opinion. Market cap's 1 million, 1.6. Total supply 650 million. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about this coin. What's up with Myro? Actually, I saw Myro pump in a lot. It's back over 10 cents. It actually took a bit of a dip the other day, or the other week. Actually, it's taking a dip overall. What, the last couple of months? Last month, right? This is January 19th. So it's actually starting to rise again. I wonder if we're gonna have a run on this, because Solana's been doing pretty good actually, right? Let's see, Solana holding up over 116 bucks. That's pretty decent. Let's see. Was my ETH pre-merge mined coin is Japanese? Interesting. I never heard of it ever. Again, Hivemapper is killing it, dude. I can't believe Max made $800 driving to Terra Hosting to go over there, work for the weekend, and come back. Shit, I want to take like a long trip now, just for no reason at all. Max, how many? Are you still here, Max? How many miles did you drive? That's what I want to know. How many miles was it? I'm interested to know that. Dev very absent is what it is. Bag and tag and look back in a few years. Yeah, Douglas, that's really all you can do. It just sucks that, are you talking about ETC POW, I assume? It sucks that it's not automated. The whole ETC POW thing, it needs to be automated, and they need to have legit licenses for it to be like anything okay. I don't know. It's fucking weird. It's just weird to me. Anyways, guys, things are looking great. You're all fantastic. I love you all. Hopefully you guys have a great and happy Thursday. I'm going to be getting out of here. We're going to raid Miss Randy Hipper in just a second. She's going to be talking about Ethereum real soon. So about, I think, 15-20 minutes or so, she'll be live. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Midwest Miner, appreciate the last minute membership. You are amazing. Thank you so much for gifting one to Mr. Smokey Dan. Congrats, buddy. All right. Oh, actually, you know what I do for the members? I am going to be doing a giveaway, and I totally forgot this thing was under my desk. This is a KS0 Pro that we're going to be giving away. Shout out to Mr. Red Panda Mining and BP over on his channel. He donated KS0 Pros for us to give away. So I'm going to give it away to one of my members at some point. I have to figure out a good way to do that. You know what? I think I'll do it. I should probably do that this weekend. I'll try to figure out how, and yeah, we'll do that. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. I don't know. It might be a live stream or something. I haven't really thought about it, but anyways, all right, guys, have a good day. I'll catch you soon. Gotta get back to daddy duty. Peace out.
Perfect.
Eat shit, Gary. You are a loser. You always lose.
You guys don't get to 100 likes, I'm going to show you my cleavage.
Max, I told you to stop saying that to my friends. Okay, bye.